you want to say something that belongs on? You just want to do it now. You want to say something?
I have got some comments down.
Just announce it on the sound.
No breath.
I gotta get it.
Leave phone.
Where's the code?
Well, I can. Well,
I'll call the board and put it over to you.
oh, well, yeah. Sound like Pittsburgh hat was one of the.
I'd like to call to order our January 10th, 2022 Jones County Board of Education meeting. I'd like to thank all the visitors, guests, and all those watching virtually in attendance. Ms. Candace, let the record show that we have a quorum of 5 board members present in the boardroom. Mr. Griffin, Mr. Walston, myself, Mr. Brown, and Ms. Fial. Also present in the boardroom is Superintendent Dr. Thigpen, Assistant Superintendent Mr. Bryce Marquis, and on the phone, Mr. Schiff, Board Attorney. This time we'll roll into item 1A, the special recognition.
Board members, I wanted to take a moment and you have at your desk a token of appreciation, which is the Jones County Public Schools shirt. And we just wanted to take a moment. January is Board of Education Recognition Month. We wanted to take a moment to thank you for all your hours of service, your support, and your leadership, the countless hours you spend investing in our community, listening to our parents at meetings and training, and thank you for your leadership in the school system. It would not be where it was today if not for your leadership. And so we want to thank all of you for your service, and sure is just a token of our appreciation for that service. So thank you.
Thank you all. Appreciate it.
There's a card signed by all our staff to you all that you can pass, and I think we'll have a social media post recognizing all appreciate for that. So thank you.
This time I'd like to ask all to stand for our Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
This time I'll ask for a moment of silence for our Jones County Public Schools family. Thank you. At this time, I'll ask for the approval of our regular session Jones County Board of Education meeting minutes from December the 6th, 2021.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Walson, second by Mr. Brown. All in favor say aye. All opposed say nay. Motion carries 5-0. This time, I'll ask for the approval of our January the 10th, 2022 board agenda.
So moved.
Before we do that, I'd like to add a couple of, I'm sorry. And I have put it together. I would like to add a discussion item 3C just to see where we're at on the Maysville properties. and add a, discussion item, D for a February retreat date. Trying to find a date that we can all work with for February. So with those asked, do I have an approval of the
I'll make a
December
motion to approve the minutes, that if you're gonna add,
Yes.
Second.
you feel right, we have a Basil property on there.
Exactly. Motion by Mr. Grimm to approve the board agenda. Mr. Be all second, all in favor, say aye. All opposed, say no. Motion carries. Move into item 2A, public comments.
Yes, miss.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Amanda Howard. I have two students at Jones Senior. I just wanted to,
Ms. Howard,
yes,
just real quick, just a reminder, you have 3 minutes.
correct,
Okay.
got it.
All right.
Yeah, it'll be quick. I promise it won't take that much time. I just had a couple concerns, which I know that this is it's a time that's really difficult with COVID and masks, and I know y'all have been trying so hard, and I appreciate all of that. Today, my son, one of my children were sent home due to contact tracing. My one concern and question, and again, I know you can't answer any questions, and that's fine. I know that we are a test to stay school district, and I was just wondering if that is going to be put in place. He was sent home today after being in contact last week. So he already met some of the days, so I didn't know if it would, the possibility of possibly testing the children on site when that happens. Again, don't know all the guidelines, have looked at the toolkit a little bit, a lot of recommendations, and I see and understand that and respect that. And again, I don't want to be y'all with the decisions you have to make. But that was one of my concerns was, can we not test the children as, taking into consideration when the exposure happened? Can we not test it at the school at that time, possibly? Maybe smack a mask on, do the testing, wait till the results are in. The other one is concern for other parents. I'm very fortunate that I work where I can come and go as I need to, and I do have a senior that can drive. I work in healthcare myself. I work with a very vulnerable community, and I have a lot of employees myself who are having COVID issues. I get it. My biggest thing is our employees don't get paid for having to be away from their children or having to go pick up children and being away from work. Something to maybe take in consideration with maybe the immediate testing, to help them, because that creates a hardship for a lot of families, financially. That was one of the things I was just thinking about. The other concern is they've missed a lot of instructional time. We all know that. For me, if we can do that immediate testing, maybe that could help with that. And it also puts undue hardship on the teachers with having to regroup, because that was the first question to my son today. How long are you out? What are you doing for your schoolwork? He's a sophomore. This is pivotal time for him. So again, just something to consider and think about. I know you've thought about many things. Again, no accusations, no nothing, just some of my things I've been thinking about. Also teachers, I worry about them having to constantly regroup with us. And how are they, they're expected to have certain, testing scores and results. And when the children are in that classroom, that stinks for them as well. And it reflects on them poorly. And it's a lot of times out of their control. So again, just a thought on possibly the contact tracing situation, maybe having the tests available immediately, putting them in the gym, testing them, doing a rapid. If they're negative, great, send them on their way with a mask, if so be. Anyway, just a couple of things I wanted to just bring up. I know you all have a lot on your plate, and I appreciate your time. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ms. Howard.
Ms. Howard, will you leave Candace's phone number so we can?
It is on the sign-in sheet, sir.
Gotcha. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Marshall, the others.
Public comment? That's it.
I just want to hear how they go about this.
Okay. Then no further public comment at this time.
Moving on into discussion items, 3A, the facilities report.
Board members, you have, Jones County Athletic Fields report from Perry and Son, where they outline the work that has been done in November, as well as forecast the work for the month of January. As you know, we're nearing the latter stages of the race with that, and so you have that information there in front of you, talking about installing the fences, final painting, batting cages, installation, and things of that sort. So you, those are things that are projected to be taking place over the next month. Concerning the budget.
Did it have a, passes every time the completion date?
I've not heard anything different than the 23rd or something like that.
Yeah, okay. Just want to make sure you're still on track to hit that. When does baseball, softball kick off?
Baseball usually begins February.
February is tryouts is February 15th unless it's changed over the years. Tryouts.
Don't some schools start throwing like right after Christmas? Are we doing that?
Yeah.
I talked with, Mr. Cookwagon, I believe so.
Less than one constitutes a team is what it used to be.
He's doing, Christmas catches Monday.
Yeah.
As much money as we spend on that ball field, we gotta look like we're trying to do something.
All right. Any other facility reports, Dr. Cook?
No, sir. Everything, no issues that we're aware of in the place, everything appears to be fine.
Any other questions on facility? Okay. Then, item 3B, the superintendent update.
So, board members, I have given you some information over the weekend that outlined what the surrounding counties were doing. It kind of gave you the numbers we have at present as far as the rise in the quarantines and the COVID cases. We are doing test to stay. As was mentioned earlier, I know there has to be parent permission before they can do that. I'll have to get some more details. I want to talk with Danielle and Diane before I don't want to speak, they know more exactly about the logistics than I do, but I know we're doing that to try to keep kids on campus as much as possible. And so, but we'll get more details and respond back to Ms. Howard and make sure everything's clear. So, I also, have, Bryce and I have talked a little bit about how to maybe proceed forward with this, navigating this mask versus, one mask optional. And we were of the opinion that if we could establish some kind of numbers whereby if the numbers rise above a certain level, we just automatically go to a mask requirement until they drop down below a certain number. And Bryce and I, if we get above 75 quarantines, we feel like if we get above 75 quarantines, we feel like, at that point, we need to look at going into masking. And then once, that number drops below 50, or we could go to mask optional. And then if we get 15 or more positives, we need to look at, requiring masks. And so we want to throw that out there to you as a consideration. We know that each month we have to meet and you all have to vote on it. It would just give us some, some in between the monthly meetings. If we need to make adjustments, we can do so.
Could this be per school? Because all schools are not having the same issues as others are. And I like to keep masks optional for those schools that are under whatever number, for that particular school. may it be confusing or not, is giving a voice to many people.
Well, you can see the approximate percentages there. I mean, we could translate those percentages to the school side. I've done it as a district, but if you want us to look at it per individual school, that would take very little time for us.
Yes. That would be my suggestion, I mean, I totally understand percentages. But if we could do it per school, that would definitely help a lot until we can get maybe the numbers down a little bit.
Do we have a free testing still? Whatever it is. Well, how come we have to send these kids home and we can't just test them until they get, unless if they're non-systematic, and just test them once we're gonna quarantine and leave them in the school district? What kind of repercussions we're gonna have from the state or the health department? Because, this is, in my opinion, I mean, I voted for mask requirement at the beginning of school because of this, but I don't see it now. When you got all these vaccines and everything else going on, is there gonna be some kind of repercussion if we were test these kids instead of sending them home? Because the kids are not gonna learn halfway at home.
Well, I know we have to have permission before we can do the testing. And so,
Permission from the parent?
Yeah.
I imagine the parents are really,
Yeah.
can they do verbal permission over the phone?
we have to have signed permission. So a lot of this would be, classroom, if there's somebody in the classroom that tests positive, and we don't have permission from 15 of the parents to do the test, then we can't.
Could we send a form out to the parents
You can get it out.
and let them go ahead and sign it and say, let's do this? I mean, if it comes down to your kid's gotta be quarantined, do we have permission to test them? Can we send that out ahead of time and get it signed?
It's on the website that they can do it, and we have been asking parents, and they fill it out in a few minutes, boom, I call them, the child come in, boom, they fill it out, it comes up, I test them right then.
Well, and if they're negative, can they go back to the classroom?
Right,
Well, that's what we need to be doing, not
Yeah,
quarantining all these kids. I don't care
Yes.
what, we're
That's
losing a whole lot of
that's
education.
a good thing.
yep. I don't know if I can talk or not, but.
Well, we need
I think you're adding to the thing. in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, you're the
Yeah, we are,
expert on
yeah,
it.
yeah, that's exactly what we are doing, but it's like, for instance, if, I get a phone call and they say, well, this kid here is positive and they were in the school, then that's what we find out who was there, and then that's what we ask the parents, fill out the form and we can test them, but like today we had lines, I did like 40-some students, and the other side did 30-some students in elementary, it was like 70-some kids we did today.
Were they most able to stay in school?
Right, yeah.
Well, that's what we need to.
And
be
it was
doing.
like a
You know,
weekend, it was a weekend thing for one side, but it's so many of them. That's what, like, you get a call late in the evening that this kid was positive, they got to leave, then tomorrow, the next day is when we can test.
Right.
So it was a lot,
Well, even if it has to fall over the other day, one day out is a whole lot better than
That's right,
5
so-
or 7 days out.
right, and it started Thursday and Friday. So, and we have it on Friday, you can't do it until Monday, so we had lines around for testing on Monday, to test and stay. We giving them the paperwork with the test and stay logged on, so they can log on and then let us know we want the kid to be tested, and they can come right back to school if they're negative or asymptomatic.
Miss Hattie, do you need more help at this point in time for a couple of weeks to get this job done? Because I know you're working hard.
I mean, Mr. Memphis probably saw, he had to stand there a long time the other day, and that was a prime example
And we need to do something.
that,
As the health department, asking for a couple of their nurses to come help us, out, even if it's just mornings. I know we got a good working relationship
Well, if
with
they
them.
got-
They need help.
If we got a mask mandate, none of this got to be done, right?
no, if you still got a mask, but it will be less people that will be involved.
Right.
Because when you don't have a mask, it involves the whole class, because that person was in there positive and he was around everybody.
They eliminate 100 kids getting tested.
Right, it
Not
eliminates
necessarily.
sending home,
They-
it eliminates sending home 30 kids at one time.
Is it the last time when we got up to 190 something in the beginning?
We way past that now, and we only been in school 4 days.
What I'm asking you is, wasn't it about a 10-to-1 or 12-to-1 ratio there? But we have 19 infected, but we had 197 gone, I believe, something like that. So it's 10-to-1. And what I'm agreeing with you is what I'm doing. And I agree with your mother. And if when you wear the mask, what is it? It's 1-for-1.
Right.
You know, I don't know. That's what's killing us is the quarantine. And me and him, I don't know.
Well, we had a mask mandate, Myron up waiting in line 2 hours.
Right.
Well, I mean, I think it was about
I had to
100 and
test
some kids.
Instead,
But I'm saying, you
Wearing
eliminate,
that
I
mask.
mean, you rather pay somebody 6 hours to test or just put in the mask mandate, you don't have to pay that 6 hours to test. I mean, you're willing to call the health department and for more help.
yes,
I mean,
they,
and have 200 kids get tested in 6 hours instead of having 2 kids
But
that got
it-
the mask. And
But if one day you are testing and then you have gotten 15 positive, just like that, where does it stand now?
correct.
Just boom, 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 boom.
So, I mean, our recommendation is, for right now, is to go back to that mask until it settles down. And then if you want us to build in some kind of speedometer or range where if it goes above a certain.
I should go back to tell the governor change the toolbox talk. We're gonna keep putting our hand on the hot
that's a
stove.
suggestion.
We're gonna keep going back and put our hands on the hot stove and have 200 kids out. Come back again, have 200 kids out. When the mask on, or something like that. I'm with you. I mean, I wanna take it off, but our first job is to make sure kids are at school. We're canceling basketball games. The city, parents calling me today, I gotta go get my kid. I got him Friday, I gotta get him again. And the mask would eliminate it.
What kind of mask are they gonna wear? They
But-
said that the cotton or the cloth mask are no good.
But if you make it,
But again, I'm not debating mask, I'm debating the rule. I mean,
But
that's
I
it.
know we got,
I
if
mean, and
we're gonna do it though, we got to do it.
would it be an optional, if they feel like their kid's in danger, they can wear the mask and
That's
still
true.
not be sent home.
No,
We,
It's true.
that's the mandate ain't in place. We still got to-
but what I'm saying is, if the kid's got a mask on, then they're automatically, they don't have to go home. Is that not correct?
Or be tested.
Or be tested.
Or be tested. You get 150 kids out of that line getting tested by having a mask.
Well, I don't like a mask.
Well, it ain't all about us. It's about keeping kids in school. It's keeping parents from having to drive back and
The
forth to
test to
school.
stay is to keep them in school. That's why we invested in that program.
The test to stay helps us from
Yeah.
having to quarantine,
That's
but,
keep.
but it's just helping us in there. It's not as preventative as wearing the mask.
I let it keep mine in school. We've got to go out there Monday, Wednesday, and Friday.
Right.
Is that right? Monday, Wednesday, and Friday morning to go sit with them to be tested, to stay in school.
But with the mask mandate, you don't have
First,
to do
third,
that.
fifth, and seventh days.
And she's consistently negative, but I mean, that's just what we gotta do. So. And I know I'm not the only one in that boat. So,
Public comment on
and, you know, I guess there'll be some parents that choose not to test, and then that kid goes home. And there's nothing that we can do to,
it. And there's no virtual options.
and there's no virtual op, yeah, that's right. So,
Yeah, I get it. I mean, I'm ready to come out of the mask, but.
It's been 2 years of mask. Nobody wants to wear a mask anymore. But
Until that rule change.
when it's 10 or 12-to-1, for quarantine, and you may not even be infected.
well, for what it's worth, the quarantine time it is coming down.
Yes, yes.
Right, I mean, what was it, 10 days before, 14 or something?
2 weeks and it'll be back down.
So now it's.
It's 5 in school and 5 out of school wearing masks.
Yeah, I'm talking about in 2 weeks, because we're coming off Christmas vacation. And we've had a lot of activities in the communities that's brought people together. That was unforeseen. I feel like it'll go down in a couple of weeks.
Our positives aren't really
They're not
out
that
of
many.
control, it's the quarantine.
But that's what we,
That's
That's why test and stay is
That's what
what
they do.
I think we're ahead of everything.
Yeah.
I think this is, they being superintendent.
Did we take your superintendent?
Yeah, we know what action.
No, well,
We know what the point.
so anyhow, you have our recommendation as far as the mask goes. The second part, or other things I want to talk about is, we're still moving forward with strategic planning. Those are the dates that we will be hearing from stakeholders at each school. And so each principal has invited parents, staff members and all, and they will be a part of it. So we're looking forward to that. And then, in December, I talked a little bit about the academic stuff we were doing in order to improve our academics. And this month, I've given you a handout that talks about the leadership elements that we're sharing with our kids. And basically, our approach is we're trying to teach our kids about leadership, because we know after they graduate, those are skills that will benefit them down the road and help contribute to our community. And so the handout that you have outlines the 7 habits and talks about the characteristics and the different things that we're expecting from our kids to demonstrate. And the approach has been the staff and the teachers learn it first and begin to practice it first. And then from there, we move to teaching it to our students. And so that's just to give you insight about that element of the Leader in Me program and what we're doing. And then next month, I'll talk briefly about the culture that in those 3 elements of Leader in Me and what we're trying to do. So I wanted to share that with you. So if you were asked or had any other questions about that, you would have that information. And, the thing that we understand is that a lot of the employers are telling us it's not the academic skills, that they need kids with academic skills, but they need kids with skills to be able to work with people and interact with people and work collaboratively. And so those are some of the things that we're trying to take care of. What we're doing with Leader in Me. So I wanted to share that with you. Any questions about any of that? COVID or the?
I got one more.
Okay.
Is there anywhere in our policy that covers if a parent takes their child and has the blood test for the autoimmune, that, in other words, that child has a high immunity for COVID? Are we covered? Because some systems are accepting paperwork from the doctors of that child, pediatricians, indicating that child has a high immunity rate.
I'm not aware of, or have not heard.
It's out there. Yeah. And I'm wondering, have we, is that anywhere in our plans?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay.
Didn't I see where Pfizer had been lowered to 5-year-olds vaccine now? That would fall under the same thing as being vaccinated, I would have thought, as far as the immunity.
So if they're using an antibody test to show that.
They are. Yes.
We'll see if there's any information about that.
Okay. Any further questions on the superintendent update? Just real quick, I added 3C for Billy's. I mean, he wanted an update on the Maysville property. And where were we at with that?
The last, Colin gave us the last.
Well, that $800, I thought. I think we already agreed to set $800.
Balance line.
Yeah, so-
Now the rest of it's got to go for,
He was taking care of the
Yeah,
rest.
Billy made a motion.
Colin
What?
was supposed to take care of the rest, correct?
That's what I thought.
He's on the phone.
I don't think he is.
Colin?
He never shows.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He's getting ready to watch a football game.
Can,
I heard that, Billy.
can you just ask him if he's got a manual update for us?
see. Colin, do you have a Maysville update for us?
Yes, is Tim there?
He is not here.
Okay. Well, I worked with Tim to draft the posting for the Upstate bid process. And, Dr. Dixon, do you know if that has been posted in the newspaper?
I know Tim was getting it posted into the newspaper. I don't know if it's actually occurred yet or not.
Okay, well, I guess we need Tim to fill us in on that, but if that was done and it was run for 10 days and assuming nobody made a bid, which we were anticipating maybe not, then, that process is done and we can just move forward with entering the contract of sale for the property, and the, individuals that are gonna purchase it will need to get their attorney to, close the deal. So I'll follow up with Tim to see if that's been run in the paper.
Okay.
Thanks, Kyle.
No problem.
We can bring it up again next month.
Yeah,
I knew.
gotta see it through.
We got a head project.
Then I added item 4D. I just kind of wanted to see some dates for us to, get together. Budget in the upcoming year, sometime in February. So I don't know what dates y'all wanted to look at for that.
When the weather's worse.
Morning, evening.
Do you know when we did it last year? See, we're already meeting on February the 7th. I'll do like February 16th of Wednesday.
What we were treating about.
Budget.
Oh, okay. Yes.
All right, we'll just start looking around that date, that time frame for something. Going to the action items 4A, action on whether to maintain or amend the Board of Education current face covering policy as required by SL 2021-30.
Are we still gonna do test to stay either way?
I think test to stay is only in unmasked situations.
Just on the thing, it's got mask and unmasked users, it's for both. Only the document for the test it says for both, you can follow both.
Okay.
Can we get an updated? Since they changed it again Friday, we had some changes Friday night, can you send it by email to us
Strong schools toolkit, yes.
so we can at least be aware of the changes?
I shared it in the Friday activity report, and a link to that.
Okay.
I like Dr. Thigpen and Mr. Marquis' recommendation to go masked up to the 75% quarantine, just as you presented it.
Okay.
I would just need motions. So,
A motion to do so.
thank you.
Second.
Second, one, Mr. Brown. Motion on the floor to go with Dr. Thigpen and Bryce Marquis' recommendation to go masked up to 75% quarantine. All in favor, say aye.
I'd like to hear the explanation on how this will work again, so I'll be able to explain it if it passes.
So, well, once we get above 75 students that we've got on quarantine, we automatically be in a masking situation. And we be in that until that number drops below 50, and then we go back to mask.
We're gonna take this per school, we're gonna take this across the board.
I'd like to see it per school.
Me too.
or the percentage of students in that school.
I think so. I think it's.
I don't think we need to do it for all schools if they're not being affected.
If you can fit the percentage, like Ms. Fion said.
Yeah, that 1 in 12.
By that, I mean, if, I think what you're saying is 75 students, that's your scale for the biggest populated school, is that what we're saying?
That's for the district.
The district, I'm sorry, that'd be district-wide.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Which is about 6.8%. 50 quarantines is about 4.5%. So if you want us to take those percentages and work them at each site, we can do it ever however you want.
How many schools would this affect if we took it per school basis? You know what I'm saying? If we make it mandatory at what y'all are recommending, would all 5 schools or go in, it'd only be like 2, right?
At this time, it would be 2 schools.
Well, I want to see it per school, because, I mean, we'll give you the automatic thing that you can put it in or out. If y'all change the motion, I'll vote for it, and mine won't vote against it. I want to see it district-wide, I want to see it school-wide.
Y'all make the motion?
It's already made.
Well, you got a motion,
It's already
so
made. It's already.
Motion for district-wide.
that's what you had, correct?
Yeah, but
You want
I
to,
don't know if I would want to amend that now, put a little bit more thought into it. Let's just, if there's any discussion to be had, let's talk about it. You know, I'm open. I'm not made up yet.
well, the way I see it, if I understand right, if we were to go per school instead of district-wide, Dr. Thigpen and Bryce would have to call to put them in mask mandate until they got back down below that drop. Well, that's the way I voted, if we can make that into a motion.
How many would that be for Jones Senior? Y'all, are you combining Jones Senior Middle School and Trenton for it?
We would do 6, 12, and then K.
Okay.
So scratch the previous motion and
Yeah, for right now. Please.
How many students would that be for Jones Senior, or in middle school? Roughly, compared to what we have now.
There would be 36 students for quarantine.
So we're over that at that
Oh.
school now.
Way over.
And then we can tweak it after, that goes.
We won't have to do anything if we go school by school, because they'll have to say.
Yeah, they'll
have to
take
know.
care of it.
And that's y'all's recommendation?
Colin, can you hear me? If Larry withdrew his motion, does Shamal have to withdraw his second?
Say that again?
If Larry withdrew his motion for the time being, does Shamata have to withdraw his second? If the motion,
That'd be clean if somebody's made a new motion.
nobody's made one yet, that's why I'm asking, because I'm gonna make one if you tell me we can go ahead with something else.
If Larry withdrew his motion, there's not a motion on the table.
Even with a second? And a call for a vote prior to discussion?
All right, hang on now, because I gotta understand what's going on now. Hold on. I'm the one that's done that stuff in order.
You can, well, yeah. I mean, if you want to follow Robert's rules strictly, the maker of a motion can't speak against a motion. So I don't know how Robert's rules compliant you want to be, but you can go ahead and vote on Larry's motion, and if it doesn't pass, somebody else can make another motion.
So there's no such thing as withdrawing a motion and having a discussion on it?
Well,
If
once it's been seconded,
I'm sorry, yeah.
maker of the motion,
Okay,
the maker of the motion is not supposed to be able to speak against his own motion.
I got you. My bad. You're correct.
Sorry to be overly technical.
That's the way it is. That's Robert's
But
rule.
you don't have to vote for that, correct?
does the guy that makes the motion have to vote for it?
No.
Okay.
And then you can go back and do a motion for school, if you happen to decide that's the way you want to go. I'm just saying.
Well, even if it passes, we can come back with a second motion
Yeah,
to override that motion.
Okay.
Isn't that correct?
That's right.
Not in the same meeting.
You can always vote to
Not in the same,
vote,
at the motion pass, you can't do it in the same meeting, can you?
you can vote to, sorry, you can vote to, reconsider what you previously adopted. But, yeah.
If I had to cast a vote right now, I'd vote to keep it like I said. I'm sorry about the trouble, but, I would rather err on the side of being safe.
So the motion
What
is
is the
second
current,
on the floor.
what is the
still
current,
Since he's seconded, we're done with that.
We're never gonna vote on it.
We got both.
Oh, yes, I'm sorry, my bad, again.
The current motion is district-wide, and I was asking
Yeah.
about making it per school, because some may never go in that need to go D4 and 2.
percentage.
I'm just trying to be fair to the ones that are social distance or whatever. And we have the option, I mean, we're gonna be giving administration the right to put them in mass, so we don't have to convene again.
well, if the majority of the board wants to do what you're proposing, Billy, they can just simply vote against the currently pending motion, and somebody can make a motion for what you want to happen.
Okay, I understood that. I just didn't think that I could make another motion with it already been one made and seconded. That was my question a while ago. I thought I understood it.
Yeah.
You got it, you can move on.
I'm good.
But I understand that to be the recommendation of staff. This is 75%, what we voted, okay?
We recommended 75 quarantines.
You
So
said
if we
75.
go in mask, and once it goes below 50, we can go to option. 15 or more positives, and we don't feel like we need to be in mask.
Okay, and that's what we,
But that was district-wide.
that's what we just voted for. I'm good with that.
Alright. So the motion and the second on the floor still stands to go district-wide with mask. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed say nay.
No,
Motion carries 3-2. District-wide.
My apologies.
which two schools would have had to go on mask?
Trenton and Joe Senior.
Looking at this, Paulson would have too. It only takes about 5 kids to tip that .0675. You know what I mean? Actually, yeah, they got 12, so,
Only one positive.
but the quarantine, that's what we're talking about.
They said the 12 kids are home. Again, the positive ain't the issue.
So had they been tested,
Which school you talking about?
Austin.
I think that's the one that's supposed to test tomorrow. Chris is supposed to stop by there tomorrow to do the test and stay.
There's only one positive right now.
But I mean, again, I'm not concerned with positive because it ain't never but 1 or 2. That's the kids that get sick home. It's the healthy kids, it's the healthy kids.
Okay,
And we go in the lobby to the toolbox. Yeah, right back here. There you go up in the lobby, do all that. Is that toolbox change?
Move right along, so we can get out of here.
at this time, I'll entertain a motion to go into executive closed session for personnel reasons.
Not from the guy asking all the questions.
Pursuant to North Carolina General Statute 143-31811A, 1, 3, and 6.
So moved.
I'll second
First
that.
by Mr. Griffin, second by Mr. Lawson. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 5-1.